I've never found a love like this. There it is. I've never found a love like this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. It's Friday. This week has just been a bit of a mixed bag week for West Ham. We had a bit of a dodgy game on Wednesday, and obviously some sad news come out before the game about David Gold also, but we will get into that. To my right is Tommy, all the way from sunny Ireland, and here to do the preview and talk about Brentford. Tommy, how you doing, mate? That's the first thing.
Yeah, doing good, except it's windy and rainy Ireland at the moment, but it's January, so what are you going to do? I'll take that. To be honest, I hate that really fucking freezing cold weather.
I know, mate.
I can deal with a bit of wind or a bit of rain if it's mild, temperatures. So I'll take it.
Bring
We're doing all right.
Bring on the summer. That's what we all say. Bring on the summer.
I'm just waiting. Whenever it comes, it might be March or April or something. When you get that first proper spring day where it's sunny and it's actually warm and you can wear short sleeves, and I can't wait, man. And we're gonna hopefully start now slowly starting to see that stretch in the evening, and
that'd be good,
looking forward to that. We're over the hump, I think. I hope.
100%. Tommy, give me your assessment of Leeds the other night before we get started. Away.
I was really disappointed, to be honest. It's the first kind of really proper look I've had at Leeds, like for a full 90 minutes. I haven't seen a game of theirs in a while. I mean, obviously looking at the table, looking at their results, I know they're a bit up and down, but not a great side, to be honest. And that was just reaffirmed really in our game with them. Leeds are not a very good team, to be completely honest. Not a very good team. That was a really winnable game. And the disappointing thing is that we put ourselves in a position to get the 3 points. And then Moyes shit the bed, and I'm just
literally,
I'm just sick of seeing it now. We were in a really good position, taking the lead early second half, and you're thinking, right, okay, we could get something here now. This could be the win that we desperately need. We were doing all right in that game, and then you're thinking, we'll push on from here. We've got a couple of goals. Okay, one was a pen, one was an assist from a Leeds player. We weren't really creating chances from open play ourselves, but we were in a good position, playing all right. And like I said, Leeds weren't great. They can be got at the back, 100%. I thought there might be more there for us. I really thought we would score another goal between then and the end of the game. Yeah. And I think if Moyes had done the right thing, we very likely would have. But Moyes just did what Moyes does and decided, we're going to just try and defend here and just not concede now. And with our defensive frailties, that was unlikely to happen. I always felt like we needed to go and score again, even at 2-1 up, because you can't trust us to keep them out of the net. So it was just bizarre. I mean, I thought Scamacca, his tail was up. He'd scored a really cracking goal. That was a really good finish.
I could not understand why Moyes subbed him.
Yeah, and Paqueta is finally starting to look like a real player for us, and he's having his best game for us by a mile. His best performance for us. I thought Fornells was doing a really good job. He was really busy, getting things done. He was getting the ball. He was quite influential in that game. Okay, he didn't do an awful lot in the final third, but he was winning a lot of possession. He was doing a lot of good things when he had the ball. His passing was on point and stuff. So I thought the three of those, were working really well together. And then he takes them all off. And I'm like, what? I'm like, Paqueta's having his best game for us all season. Get him off. Scamacca's scored. His tail is up. He might grab another one. I mean, you see the way he strikes the ball. I mean, Jesus, he just needs a half yard of space. He might bury you another one. Yeah. And he takes him off. And, Fornell's, doing really well. And, I don't mind Benrahma coming on. I like to see Benrahma coming on because he can be a game changer as well and he can cause real problems.
But Benrahma should be coming on with them players on the pitch.
Yeah. But
it's not a minute.
Yeah, and then he brings Antonio on, who's finished. I'm sorry, Antonio's finished. He doesn't bring anything anymore. It's ridiculous. And to take off those three players had been really influential in the game. And after that point, it was just, it just went to shit. Leeds were all over us.
He was lucky to get a point.
Inevitably equalised, and then we were just like clinging on for a point at Elland Road against a team that are really fragile at the back. And we were no longer testing them. It was just Benrahma created one moment because he's capable of that, where he flashed one just wide of the far post. Antonio tried to get on the end of it, but wasn't really near it. But that was our only real opportunity after that, and we were just hanging on grimly against Leeds, who, with all due respect, are not a good side. And for us to try and defend Leeds, I mean, it's criminal, James. I mean, I was just unbelievably disappointed, because there could have been something positive to take from that game, and we could have gone into the Wolves game, with some confidence.
It papers over the cracks for me, massively. It just that game for me papers over the cracks massively. Like, it looks good, a 2-2 draw, but it doesn't show the reflection of the game. When we're 2-1 up, and I agree with everything you just said, we're in control of the game. Skamaka's just scored, and then to go and sub him off on the 68th minute, and I covered it on the player ratings. I was like, people were saying, well, it's a good point, we've got to respect the point. We're 2-1 up, we're all over them, and then we just let it go, just massively let it go. And I'm thinking, why are you letting it go for? It just makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, and in a team that's in the position we're in, James, I mean, we've seen it before. The confidence is low. We really desperately need something positive to try and raise the players and get their confidence back up. We've gone 2-1 up. That does in the second half, and that can do great things for the team. They can think, all right, we're 2-1 up here. We're winning. We're playing all right here. That's when the players' tails are up. That's when they start to kind of grow in confidence and start to kind of express themselves more. And when there's a good chance now they can go on and win this thing, because they're starting to feel positive about this game and the way things are going and the way they're playing. And it can build during the course of a game. And if you go on then and you win that game, maybe we score another one and we win it 3-1, and all of a sudden the players are feeling good on the way back on the coach. They're smiling, and they can carry that forward. And that's ideally what could and should have happened. But Moyes he just cut the legs from under the players with those fucking substitutions, and we end up going defensive, hanging on. And in the end, we're really lucky to come out of it with a point. The players know that. They've gone and conceded. They've gone from a winning position where they were starting to grow, starting to feel good about the game and about themselves, starting to gain a little bit of confidence as the game was going on. And then for Moyes to do that, and we're back to fucking square one. We've got a point up there, which is no good to us. A point is no good to us right now. I mean, it doesn't really do anything for us. The point in the end just about kept us out the relegation zone, because of the late equaliser Villa got against Wolves. And that's about it. I mean, it doesn't do anything for the players' confidence. We still haven't won a game. Been pegged back again, almost lost it. Only for that save from Fabianski. There was also Rodrigo got through.
Also, Antonio.
Thankfully Rodrigo, hit it like straight over Fabianski's head, and he was able to tip it over. That had been either side of him. That's a goal. Yeah. It's shocking stuff, James, to be honest. That could have been a really positive game for us, and Moyes has just completely fucked it.
I know. Listen, everything you've just said, that's why I let you express yourself, mate, because what you're saying is how I let it out the other day. I couldn't agree anymore. We're 2-1 up. We're in control. The boys are playing probably the best performance I've seen them play this season. Like, no joke. Like, I think first half, we got away with it a little bit. Yeah. We went 1-0 down, and like you say, we got the penalty. Second half, I thought we was a better side. We come out, we scored early, and we're on the front foot. And then he just pulls the handbrake up, which is major for me.
I'm like, how do you wrap your head around that, James? I mean, even for someone like Moyes, who's inclined to be a bit more defensive, I mean, even at that, I mean, I can't fucking wrap my head around those subs, bro.
To me, that's what he's thinking. He's looking at he's looking on a negative. He's got a negative mentality, in my opinion. Like, we're 2-1 up, we should be on the front foot, allowing, and Lee should be worried about us. As soon as he goes and takes Scamacca off for Antonio, and listen, Antonio's been a great servant to West Ham, right? And he'll always be remembered as being a great servant, scored up some goals, etc. But he's been done for a long time. A long time, and he comes on in, and let's be honest, for the 27 minutes that he was on the pitch, he done one good thing, and that was clear the ball off the line. He didn't do anything else. Like, it was terrible, really. So I think a more expressive manager brings Ben Rama on and goes for it with Scamacca, Paqueta, Ben Rama, Bowen, even Fornell's on the pitch. Like, listen, me and you've had many debates, as we've discussed in the past, about Fornells, and I was calling for him the other day like you was, and he come on, he started, he played very, very well. So, yeah, I can't really wrap my head around it. I just think it just keeps him in the job, if I'm being honest. If you want me to be honest, that's really saved his job, because with the passing of David Gold, now the pressure's on Moyes, even more so. Do you know what I'm saying? So
his biggest ally in the boardroom is gone now.
Yeah.
The only good thing for him is, unfortunately for us, I think he has another one now in Mark Noble.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. Let's move on to the FA Cup game. Just a quick opinion on it, Tommy. Is this really that important, this FA Cup game, or not, in your opinion?
It's hard to. I've been thinking about this. Is it important or is it not? And the thing is, I think it is, because we are desperately lacking in confidence. You know, we're desperately lacking. We need something. You know, we need something, even if it's an FA Cup win, because, you know, we've been turned over by Brentford.
Yeah.
Every time we played them recently, Thomas Frank's got Moyes' number. The players, I don't think it would do us any good to lose to Brentford again. Even if you fob it off and say, well, it's only a FA Cup, we've bigger things to concentrate on. I feel like we just need something.
Yeah.
We just need something. And I think Brentford are going to want to win this game. You know, they're not in Europe. They're sitting pretty in the Premier League, so, you know, they're not under any relegation threat. They're looking up the table, not down. They're feeling good. I think Thomas Frank will put out a strong side. You know, they don't have another game till next weekend. Is it next weekend or midweek?
Same as us, next weekend.
Next weekend. So there's nothing to stop Thomas Frank putting out a strong side. There's nothing to stop Thomas Frank from going for the FA Cup. To say, look, you know, if we can beat the teams we're beating, Man City away, Liverpool home, we can go and win a cup. Because clearly Brentford are capable of beating anybody on their day. And so I think Thomas Frank, and I think the Brentford fans are going to want them to try and win the FA Cup. You know, so I think this is going to be a strong Brentford team. I think it's going to be a motivated Brentford team with a manager who's telling them, we're going to go and try and win this FA Cup because we're capable of it. There's no reason for them to not try and win this thing. All they've got is Premier League. They can manage FA Cup. You know, they can manage an FA Cup run. So, you know, they're going to go for it. So I don't think we can afford to put out a kind of second string kind of team and get done 3-0. You know, I mean, our confidence is bad enough.
And I think that is an important issue there, what you've just said. If he does put out a second string side, then in one way, some fans are like, it's not really that important. Look, us in the league, we need to start winning some Premier League games, which I understand that. On the other hand, we need to win a game. Like, West Ham have forgot how to win a game, right? We don't know how to win a game anymore. And I do agree, if you can win this game, it sort of builds momentum for the next two.
Just gives a little lift.
Yeah, little lift. And I think there's a week's break. Like, it's Saturday afternoon tea time, Brentford. I think it's 5:30, 5:45, somewhere like on that time. And then next week it's Wolves away, 3:00 kickoff, I think it is. So you've got a whole week to deal with this. For me, there is no excuses. Like West Ham have to perform eventually. They against Leeds, they did perform, but in spells. Like in that game, it was like 1 minute they was extremely good, and then next minute they were all over the place defensively, and some of them are just like really. It can be problematic, in my opinion. What do you think in regards of Brentford, though? Because I'm impressed with Brentford. Like they signed players from no one's heard of, they turn them into well beaters, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they brought in a manager. I never heard of Thomas Frank before he went to Brentford. I have no idea. I don't even know what nationality Thomas Frank is. Even now, other teams seem to be able to go and find these managers, and get them in. Like they've obviously done their homework. Like Brighton, for example, are the same. Like Brighton would have known that Graham Potter was doing so well that somebody was going to come poach him. Somebody was going to come poach their manager, and they knew this. Yeah. And so they were obviously looking ahead, saying, okay, when he gets poached, who's our man? And they went off and they did their due diligence, did their scouting for their next manager, and decided, right, we really like De Zerbi. He obviously plays the game the way we play the game, the way the setup is the same. It's literally plug and play. Out comes Potter, in goes De Zerbi. We still play the same style with the same players. There is no great overhaul of tactics or formations or the way the players are used to. And it was absolutely seamless. Yeah. Absolutely seamless. De Zerbi hit the ground running. The players hit the ground running under the new manager.
They don't even look phased, do they?
No, because I'm sure there's some things that are different in training, the setup in training, but the way they're being asked to play is essentially the same way.
Yeah,
right. So there was just a flow to it. So teams like Brentford and Brighton are doing a tremendous job behind the scenes, something we don't do. And so the fact that Moyes is still here, and then you have our board coming out talking about, there's no good options around if we sack Moyes and bullshit. You're either you're too skinflint to go and poach a manager. Other teams have no problem going poaching managers. No problem. So you're either too much of a skinflint to go and poach a manager from another team, which we could do, or you've got no clue what you're doing. You haven't done your due diligence. You have got no clue where you're going to go if and when you have to sack Moyes. I mean, it's ludicrous. And like Brentford went out and got Thomas Frank. Ask people in like Premier League fans of any team, hands up if you knew who Thomas Frank was before he went to Brentford. Very few hands would go up.
But I will say one thing about Brentford, because I watched a film last night. Anyone who knows it, I watched Moneyball with Brad Pitt in it about the baseball team, and basically that film's a true story on how they started doing their scouting and data analysis. Basically, they started looking at data rather than just picking out a player who looks good on for one or two games. You know what I mean? And what it is with Brentford, they have got the Moneyball system, like pinned basically. Every time they sign a player, they don't sign. So when you look at Brentford signings and you go through all that team, like Ben Mee, Pinnock was playing League Two football about 5 years ago, and now he's a Premier League player. Do you know what I mean? Rico Henry, another one. Walsall. Played for Walsall, went to Brentford. So Brentford have got this massively sewn up. And what it is, their Moneyball system works where they can sort of bring players in for cheap and really sell them for an absolute fortune and just keep progressing. And I've got to be honest, I'm thoroughly impressed with Brentford. My mate's a massive Brentford fan, and he loves giving me the odd dig from time to time about Brentford. And I look at their team, and for a small club, right, and there's no disrespect to any Brentford fans, but for a small club that they have got big players in their side. They really do.
They're so well run and so well set up by Thomas Frank. They went in against Liverpool without Ivan Toney, like their main man up front, and they didn't miss a step. Miss a step.
I agree. And I remember talking about that man, Keane Lewis Potter. I literally, on this channel, I kept going on and on about it. for ages at Hull. I said West Ham need to get him there. There's a few players I've mentioned from Brentford who West Ham should have gone for a long time. Obviously, the common ones are Ivan Toney, but there's another player, is Rico Henry. I think Rico Henry's an absolute fantastic player, and he's massively underrated, I think, but that's just me. Tommy, let's go to the lineup for the weekend. What are you expecting for the starting lineup on Saturday?
I do think Moyes will put out a relatively strong side. I think he has to, because Brentford, like I said, are going to want to win this. Brentford are going to have a strong team out. It may be Brentford's best 11 that we play on Saturday. Thomas Frank might make one or two changes, but it won't be much. He's going to want to win this cup. So we can't fuck around too much with the lineup. We've got to put a strong team out there. So I do think Moyes will do that. I think he'll make some changes. I suppose the most obvious one is Areola is going to come in and goal. The back four, he'll probably play Johnson. Probably play Emerson. Maybe Johnson and Emerson as the fullbacks. Centre back, he'll probably throw Oggy in for a game. Alongside probably. It could be Oggy and Kehrer at centre back or something like that. You might throw Dawson in. Could be Oggy and Dawson.
Can't have Kehrer playing at centre half. I think Aguirre plays, mate. I think Aguirre will play.
That would. Yeah, I hope he does, because I think he needs the minutes. He needs the minutes, to get his match fitness up. So I hope Aguirre starts alongside Dawson. That's what I'd like to see, and we might see that. I won't be surprised. Like I say, I think he'll put out a strong team. Again, it depends on the formation. I don't know what formation he's going to go with.
I reckon he goes with the same formation that he done against them recently. 3 at the back. Probably this is what I think he'll probably do. He'll go. The 3 centre halves will be Dawson, Aguirre, Cresswell. That's what I think he'll do. I think he'll have Kehrer at right wing back and left wing back Emerson. That's what I think he'll go with, and then he'll try and play this possession-based football that he plays absolutely horrendous. In midfield, I think Deck plays. I can't see him not playing.
I think Rice has to play.
Yeah, Rice 100% has to play. The other midfield was an interesting one, really. I'll put Flynn in there if it was me. I think Flynn Downs or Fornells. Like, try something different. If this game's a free hit for me. If we win the game, then great. If we lose the game, I'm not going to go massively overboard on it because we've got bigger fish to fry. But I want to see a reaction. That's what I want to see. I like if Antonio starts, he's got to perform. If Benny starts, he's got to perform. Do you know what I mean?
Antonio's going to play.
Yeah, Antonio's going to play, and obviously, when I look at it that we've only got 7 days to the next game, I would play Paqueta in this game. Just get him in there and just have a go. Do you know what I'm saying? And try and win the game at the end of the day. Go on. Reel off your starting 11 for us, Tommy.
Okay. If it's mine. Okay, mine. Areola in goal. I would revert to back 4 again, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of the wing back system, because when you play a wing-back system, your wing-backs are 2 of the most important players on the pitch, and they've got to be really good. And we do not have good wing-backs whatsoever. So I just don't think it really works. So I don't like the wing-backs system for that reason. Not because I have a problem with the system in itself, but we just don't have wing-backs that we can play that can do what you need your wing-backs to do when you play with wing-backs. So I'd go flat back 4. Again, I'd go 4-3-3 in this one. Excuse me. Midfield, I would have Rice, Downs, and Paqueta.
I agree.
I think that's a nice, strong midfield. And up top, I'd have Benny, and I'd have Benny Bowen and Scamacca. I'd play a very strong team. I don't see why we wouldn't play a very strong team. Brentford are going to. They're going to go for it. We can't afford to put out a second string team and get done 3-0. I mean, that's going to be really horrible for morale. It's just going to keep us in the mud. We need to put a big team out, a strong team, and tell him, look, I expect you to go out and win this game. We need this game. We need this win. We want to progress in the cup. Even though that's not really a priority, let's be honest at this point. But I think this game is a priority for here.
Yeah, for mentality, 100% agree. 100%
we need a win. We need a lift.
Yeah, I totally agree on that, 100%. Right, let's get to this, which is your predictions for this game. Give me your prediction of how you see this game going and your scoreline.
Look, funnily enough, we know how Brentford are going to set up. They know how to beat us, which is basically plenty of people behind the ball. They know we're fragile defensively. So they'll do the same thing again. Hit us on the counter, try and catch us out on set pieces, especially throw-ins. For some reason, bizarre reason, we struggle with throw-ins defensively. Happened again up in Elland Road. I mean, it's weird. Like I've never seen this. I've never seen this before. Teams being as vulnerable defensively as we are from fucking throw-ins. Like, what's going on? So Brentford will do the same thing again because it works against us. So I think they'll allow us to have possession again. And so the challenge for Moyes here is going to, because look, we played Brentford very recently, right? So Moyes knows what they're going to do. He knows the way they're going to approach it because they figured out this is how we believe we'll beat West Ham. They'll take the same approach because it works. So David Moyes has to figure out, okay, we're going to have the ball. We're probably going to have quite a bit of possession in their half. We're going to be able to get into their final third. How do we create opportunities? How do we get shots off? And I mean proper chances, not half chances, not 25-yard wild efforts. You can do them all day in any game. I mean, how do we open them up so that we're creating decent goal-scoring chances so we can win this game? And that is going to be the problem that Moyes has. And I'll be completely honest, James, I don't think he has any answers. I don't think he has any answers. And so I think we'll see a lot of what we see in the last game against Brentford, where we'll have the ball, we'll have it in their half, and we just cannot create good goal-scoring opportunities, and they will catch us going the other way a couple of times. And I think it'll be more or less a repeat of what we saw at the London Stadium. I don't think Moyes knows. He's had enough time. Like, teams have been doing this all season. It's been our problem. We can't score goals from open play. We're really, really terrible. I mean, we got one from open play up at Elland Road, and that assist had to come from a Leeds player. I
agree.
So, and it took Skamaka to bang in an absolute perler from 25 yards. So that's what it took for us to score from open play at Elland Road. So I just don't think Moyes has a clue how to get us scoring goals from open play against teams who know that if they get in behind the ball, they've got a great chance of keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally good. I want to answer that comment quickly. He's 50-50 at the minute, from what I've heard. He could have been on the bench for the Liverpool game. I don't think Brentford are going to risk him for this one. I think they're going to let him sit on the bench, give him another week off, sort himself out. And I know disrespect, they don't really need him at the minute where they're playing. So
yeah, I mean, they've still got Mbuemo, De Silva carries a real goal threat for them. They got the Irish lad as well, who came on and scored for them the other day. So they've got
talent.
The Irish lad might get a start up alongside Mbuemo, I think, maybe.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. I'll give my prediction on this. No, I'm nervous about this game because this game's really about the performance. If West Ham win the game, I'm over the moon. Like, we got through to the next round of the cup. Great, yeah. But on Saturday, I want to see a performance from West Ham. We're either gonna get absolutely destroyed, or they're going to put in a performance to say, you know what, something's changed. Do you know what I mean? Right. Do I think they will put in a performance? I called it the other day. I thought 2-1 West Ham, and it was only because Moyes decided to take off all the players that we ended up drawing the game. So I don't know what to expect out of this game, though, from West Ham. West Ham are the most Jekyll and Hyde side I've ever seen this season, because I just don't know what you're going to get. But I'm going to go with a draw. I think this game filters out into a draw, and we take him back to the LS for a replay, which will be a shame. But I think I'm being optimistic on a draw, really. Do you know what I mean? But Moyes has to put in a performance and get the best out of these players and not keep subbing them off after like 68 minutes. So, yeah, I'll go with a draw. That's hoping
he'll probably be more inclined to sub more and sub early in this game because it's FA Cup. So I think we will see more subs and earlier subs because of that. But like you said, I'm not confident. I think Brentford will beat us again. Because I just think we're going to struggle badly to score goals in this game, to create good goal scoring opportunities. So it's hard to predict just that we'll beat anybody at the moment, and Brentford have just had our number, mate. You know, they've just got our number. Thomas Frank's got Moyes' number, and you know, it's just hard to see us winning away from home as well. Like I said, they're going to want to win this game. He'll put a strong team out, and he'll be telling them he expects them to go out and progress in the cup. I don't think that would be the Moyes message. I don't think Moyes' message will be, I expect you to go out and win this game. I want us to try and win the FA Cup this year. I don't think that's the messaging. I think Moyes will be thinking largely about the Wolves game. He knows that's a massive, massive game for his future at the club. He knows he probably has to go and get a win at Wolves, at Molineux. So I don't think the messaging will be the same from the managers. And I think that's why Brentford will probably, attitude-wise, I think Brentford will be more up for this and will be more hungry for the win to progress than we will. And I think for that reason, they'll probably go through. Now, I don't think they'll destroy us on the scoreline, but I do think they'll outplay us. And I do think they'll be the better team on the day and, you know, beat us maybe 2-0, 3-1, something like that.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. Rumour has it time. Transfers, January window. Everyone loves the January window, especially at West Ham, when we look like we're going to sign some players, and then we realise we ain't. And the question for everyone today is this. Would Danny Ings be a good signing, Tommy? He's been linked to West Ham. He's been linked to West Ham, Bournemouth, Southampton, Everton, right? Villa has turned around and said that Danny Ings is not needed at Villa no more. Would you have Danny Ings at West Ham?
It's kind of it's a tough one for me because we still need another striker at the club.
Yeah,
we really do. But I think just not this one. You know, if this was like a couple of years ago, I'd have said, yeah, absolutely, let's get Danny Ings in. You know, he was in really good form. Exactly, Richard. So he is a goal scorer. He does know where the net is. He's a finisher. I'll give him that. And I think, obviously, Mubama's just not going to get a chance. You know, not in any meaningful way. Moyes will use Mubama when he doesn't want to play anybody else. Not because he wants to progress him or because he wants to start bringing him through.
But let me ask you, though, Tommy, is Danny Ings a better sub option than Antonio at the minute?
I think he is, yeah.
I agree.
Right now, I'd rather see Danny Ings come off the bench for us than Antonio.
If Danny Ings was coming off the bench for West Ham, at least you know if a ball does, if he's in and around the box, he's pretty lethal. Do you know what I mean? I think someone just said it in the chat there that he scored 6 out of 8. So I actually think this is not a bad signing. It's not the worst sign I've ever seen in my life. But if someone said to me, like, give him a 6-month loan, right, to the end of the season, I would take that in an heartbeat. Like, I just think that's like, is he going to play all the time? Not really, right? Because Skamaka's going to be the main man, but he's an ideal sub to come on and hopefully change the game. Definitely. Yeah. What do you reckon, Tony?
Yeah, look, if it came through, you know, that we're signing him on loan till the end of the season, absolutely fine. Yeah. It's a loan. It's a loan for half a season. No problem. And like you say, he is a finisher. But I think realistically, he's going to be coming in as a third string. You know, I still think if Moyes is taking off Scamacca, he's still bringing on Antonio rather than Ings. So I doubt we'll see very much of Ings at all. To be honest, he'll probably barely get a kick. But if they want to bring him in, it'd be good to have around, just as an emergency kind of striker, and he'd be a very good emergency striker if Antonio's not available, and he becomes second choice then, and that's like you say, coming off the bench, I think he'd be much more effective in front of goal than Antonio. Antonio couldn't hit a barn door, whereas Ings is a finisher. Obviously, Ings now is at that age where he's starting to have injury problems. But obviously that would be lessened. The risk will be lessened by the fact that he won't really be playing very much. So yeah, by all means, bring Danny Ings in on loan till the end of the season, no problem. But I would hope, I'd rather he was coming in as a backup striker rather than third string, because like I said, I think Antonio's finished.
I totally agree with you, mate. I really do. I just want to get to this comment here. The day gets worse. Apparently, Arsenal are ready to bid for Rice for £88 million. I saw that rumour the other day. 88 million is not enough for what he does. Give us your sort of quick thoughts on that, Tommy. The Declan Rice, because I have seen it, and they are keen.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's the first time, I think. I don't remember Arsenal being linked before.
Yeah.
So that's a new one on me. I don't know where the rumours are coming from or who broke them or if it's a reliable source. It wouldn't surprise me. Look, Declan Rice is going to be in demand. There's no question about that. So yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, is this January? Like this month they're going to come in?
It's either, well, I don't think it's going to be this month, but they are interested in an £88 million deal for him. So it's going to be the summer. The thing is, when you look at Arsenal, they've got Saka there, they've got Ben White. He stays in London. He hasn't got to move, has he? So
yeah, I think, I'll tell you what, I hope it's true, because the best thing that can happen for us is a bidding war.
Yeah.
If, for example, Chelsea, I don't know what we don't even know who Chelsea manager is going to be by the summer. Maybe Potter, maybe someone else. That they might bring Tuchel back. By then, he's very popular with Chelsea fans. They never wanted Tuchel sacked. But they might have a new manager in. But Chelsea, I think for a long time now, it's been known, are very keen. We don't know if there's any other keen clubs. There's been rumours maybe Liverpool could look at him, that United might look at him. I don't think United will. They've got Casemiro now. So I don't think they'll come in, but they could. You never know. It's hard to know behind the scenes what's being said by managers to chairman.
I think it could. This one, I do feel like I see people in the chat saying I can't see it. I think Richard says he can't really see it. The Arsenal one, yeah. For me, I can, mate. I look at it like this, right? Liverpool, Manchester City, they could come in, but they don't. Manchester City could, but they don't need Declan Rice, really.
Liverpool probably do at this point.
Yeah, but could you really see Liverpool dropping 100 million or 88 million on a player? Not really. It's the style, is it?
I don't know. They paid 75 for a centre back, so if they rate Declan Rice enough, and if Jurgen Klopp really likes him and says, "Look, this is going to be a key player for us for 10 years," we need to sort out our midfield. I mean, Liverpool's midfield is horrible at the moment. I think they need a stopper in there. They need someone like Rice.
It's true.
So I think I really hope Arsenal are throwing their hat in the ring. I really do.
It's true what Dabs is saying there. Yeah, he says that the Argentina midfielder Fernandes, Chelsea are looking to buy him for about 100 million or 90 million. So I can't see him going to Chelsea. If he wants to stay in London, the Arsenal thing's on 100%.
Yeah.
If Arsenal,
I doubt if Declan Rice is too bothered if it's London or somewhere else, but I don't think he'd hesitate to go to Liverpool or Man U or Man City or any of those teams. They're huge clubs. He'll win trophies at those clubs, particularly if Ten Hag, builds a really good team there and they start kind of sorting themselves out. I hope it's true. It makes sense to me. Look, Arsenal have got the flair, right? They've got the players that can score the goals. They're relatively solid defensively, but probably not as solid as Arteta would like. They got good players there, but you can score against Arsenal. They do have their days off, and I think he probably still feels that they need a little bit of metal in the middle of the park. So that makes sense to me. They could go in for someone like Rice as a missing piece of the jigsaw at Arsenal, just to shore up that. Like the best teams are usually like really strong down the middle, right? Like if I was building a team. If I come into a team and it's a team really going in the wrong direction, no really great players anywhere. I mean, you start with the spine. We say, right, we need a really good keeper. Number one, we've got to get a good keeper that we can rely on. Then we really need at least one, starting with at least one really good centre back. We've got to stop shipping goals. We've got to get the centre backs right. And then we need to not be bullied in midfield. We need to be able to get a hold of midfield and compete in midfield. So you need those midfielders, and then you need someone up top. Like a number 10 or someone who's going to create things and get assists and maybe some goals. And then you need a striker who's going to finish the chances, and then you worry about the periphery, right? So I think Arteta is the kind of manager who wants the grit in that team. He likes grit. And you can see Arsenal are becoming much grittier. And I think he could see Declan Rice as the kind of player who's going to bring that real kind of grit and drive right in the heart of the team. So it makes sense to me. And like I said, hopefully they're in for him, are going to come in for him. And it would be perfect for us if there's 3, 4, 5 teams that really would like to get their hands on Declan Rice. I mean, it just keeps boosting his price up. Like, who's going to outbid the others?
How much is it, though, Tommy, before we move on? How much is it? How much is it acceptable for West Ham to accept for Declan?
I think we should stick to our guns.
Yeah,
we should be looking at 6 figures. I think we should be saying to teams, look, he's a £100 million player. It's as simple as that. He's a £100 million player. He's a stalwart for England. Performs exceptionally well for England. He had a really good World Cup, I thought. He played really well in the World Cup. He's already captain of West Ham at 24 years old. You're going to get 10 years out of him. Easy. 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, he looks after himself. He's unbelievably professional. Incredibly professional. He's driven. He never gets injured. So he will be there week in, week out for your team. Has a big engine. He can play the 2 games a week for you all season. And there's a huge amount of upside for Declan Rice and very little downside. Very little downside when you buy Declan Rice. He doesn't have an attitude problem. He's not injury prone. He's a consummate professional. Yeah, look, exactly. Rice is a 100 million. Yeah, I think it would be criminal if we take less than 100 million for Declan Rice. We'd be selling ourselves short.
I totally agree. With everything you just said there. For me,
now there might be a deal to be done. You could do a part exchange deal.
Yeah.
Like for example, like if Chelsea really badly want him, I'd be saying, right, we want Broja and Gallagher.
Yeah.
We want both of them.
I don't think Chelsea will come in for him, though. I will say that. Listen, anyone in the chat, put their questions in for Tommy to round this up. So yeah, questions for Tommy time. But before I get the questions, Tommy, I don't think Chelsea will come in for him. I think he's very, very burnt by Chelsea, and I can't see it. Like, don't forget, they're the team that released him. West Ham picked him up and turned him into the player he is now. So maybe he's got a bit of what's the word? Like, he's not. Yeah, he resents Chelsea a little bit in that way. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't think he goes there. People say about Man United, Liverpool, and all that. He's a London boy. He's how can I put it? He's a home boy. I don't think he could go up north, like in a way, and especially Man United. I just think Man United's not the move for him, really, if I'm being honest. And I keep seeing that link over and over again, but it's just one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Man United's a real possibility, to be honest, James, because you look at the likes of McTominay and Fred, and they're not going to cut it. For where Ten Hag wants to take that club, they're not going to be up to the standard required going forward long term. And I think he is absolutely going to be looking at a midfielder, and it could be Rice. It could be Rice. So we'll wait and see.
Question for you: have you got the females on? Yeah, is she on your show tonight or not?
I'm not sure yet. I'm waiting for her to get back to me and confirm if she can come on or not. So I don't know at the moment, Peter, is the answer. But look, tune in at 10 o'clock and you'll find out.
Why do big signings never work for us, Tommy?
Oh, geez, there's a question. I think there's no one reason. There's no one reason. And it can be hard to tell because, we've had talented players. I mean, it's different for each player, and it differs between the managers. Like, for Haller was a frustrating one because he scored lots of goals at Frankfurt before he came to us.
He was a good player at Frankfurt, yeah.
Scored loads of goals. He looked a top-class player at Frankfurt. Playing, albeit in a 3. He had Rebic there, and who was the other guy that was with him? He went to Real Madrid. Actually, you know who I mean?
Luka something.
Jokic.
Yeah, that's it. Jokic, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So he played in a 3 with Jokic and Rebic. So I mean, that was quite the front 3. He came to us and then got played up top as a lone striker, and clearly, I mean, this is West Ham all over. I mean, this is what I was talking about earlier, James, about doing your fucking due diligence on players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, he plays in the front 3 with Rebic and Jokic. It works really well for him as the focal point in the centre with those two alongside him. So let's bring him in and play him up front as a lone striker. Has he ever done it? No. Do we know if he can do it? No. Yeah, let's go and blow a wad of cash on a player who we don't even know can play as a lone striker. And it became apparent very quickly that he couldn't play up top on his own as a lone striker, despite his talent. And so instead of either doing our due diligence and saying, okay, this isn't the player for us, we don't know if he can do this job, and we can't drop that kind of money on someone who we don't know if he can even do the job. Or you say, okay, if we're bringing him, we're going to have to play with two up with him.
Is that more on Moyes though? Like, because the way I look at it is, like, the players we've signed, they're not bad players. Do you know what I mean? They're not players that no one's ever heard of. These are like fully international players who like are at the top of their game. Like Paqueta's starting for Brazil, and look at Brazil as a whole, as a nation. He starts in their 11, so that's a big feat considering like he's from a country where they play samba football for like on the streets, basically. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think sometimes the manager also gets the best out of the players. That's my opinion on that.
I think it's the problem here is there's a disconnect between the players we're buying and the system that Moyes plays. Right, we're doing the same thing with Scamacca. Yeah, he played up front with Raspadori as a pairing, and again we're buying a player who's used to having a strike partner to play up front. And apparently, again, nobody asked the question: can he play up top on his own, like with no one around him?
I agree.
Has he ever done it? Mitrovic can do it, right? Alexander Mitrovic can do it, right? We've seen him do it time and time and time again. Mitrovic could come in and play that lone striker role for us and do it well. He's been doing it for a long time. He does it right now at Fulham, right? We know that. He's a player we could bring in and put up top on his own. We bought Haller, Scamacca without having a clue if they could do it or not. So we're buying these players that are not fitting into the system that we're playing. So there's a disconnect somewhere where we have to
square peg round hole, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just square peg round hole.
We have to streamline the way we're scouting and recruiting players. As far as I'm concerned, I think we should not be signing necessarily the player the manager wants.
Yeah.
We should be signing that we have to decide as a club, how do we play football? Right? Other teams do it, right? So Moyes should essentially just be a head coach. This is what Brighton, for example, have done with De Zerbi, right? They bought the manager who fits the way the club operates and the kind of players that they buy. We don't have that. We don't have that synergy at our club. So we come in. I don't even know how it works behind the scenes. Like Moyes says, get me Scamacca, and they're like, okay, David, we'll go and try and get you Scamacca.
I don't think he's saying that though, mate. If I'm honest.
Well, somebody somewhere decided Scamacca. So either
I think Newman decided him, Tommy. Yeah, I will say that. I think Newman's the one who's been scouting these players, because when I look at some of the like Aguerd, for instance, he's been scouted for a long time at West Ham. Yeah, Paqueta was like a short, like that come from nowhere. Like no West Ham fan knew that Paqueta was going to come to West Ham in that summer. It was like a stun to all of us. But I think Scamacca's been monitored for a while. Like, I don't think Scamacca's that bad. But I think he's
not. He's a fine player.
Yeah, and I just think
he just can't play as a lone striker. He needs people around him.
Totally agree with you, mate. 100%. Right, here's a question for you.
What happens? You remember we've seen what happens, like say particularly in the Conference League.
Yeah.
In those games, his players have gotten up and around him, around the box, and he gets those assists. I mean, his runs are brilliant. So those little runs he makes in between centre backs and in between the full back and the centre back, he's really lively. I mean, he's been trained essentially by Ruud van Nistelrooy, right? So
yeah, that's correct.
He's been trained about making those runs and getting into that yard of space. But it's pointless if there's no one around there to give him a ball, to give him a pass. We've seen in the Conference League when he gets the likes of Paqueta and Benrahma and those players up and around him, and he makes those little runs, and he gets those balls slipped through. He'll finish. He's finish. Plan, but we have to change. If we're going to play Scamacca up top, we've got to get players up around him. We just have to.
Totally agree with you, mate. Here's a question
we're
for you,
buying the
Tommy.
wrong players for the system. We're not scouting properly to get the right players in for the way that we play. And that's why I think we need to change. We need to decide as a club, up above managerial level, how we play as a club. What is our philosophy, right? We used to have an identity, James, where this is the West Ham way. This is how we play football. So you get the right manager in who complements that way of playing. And then you buy players who complement that system and that way of playing, who know how to do it. And that's what we haven't been doing. And that's why our signings are completely hit and miss.
I don't agree. With you. I really do. Right, this comment, because I've been seeing this comment for a while. You've got 25 million, Tommy, right? And we could spend it on whoever we like in the January window. Who are you spending it on? For me, straight away, I'll go first. A left back. A bloody good one would be a start. I mean, will we get one for 25 million? Possibly. But we need a left back at this club. We've needed a left back at this club for God knows when. We've got Kera there who can't defend. We've got Emerson that Moyes don't trust. And we've got Cresswell whose days are slowly fading away. Do you know what I mean? So I would say 25 million on a decent left back. Who it is, I don't know. But I would have a left back. Who would you sign for £25 million, Tommy?
Yeah, exact same. We are desperately poor at the full-back positions, particularly left back. I think Aaron Cresswell is another player I think we've seen this season who's finished. I think Cresswell is finished. This is a season too far for Cresswell, and it's not his fault. Every player hits the wall. You know, he's in his 30s. It was inevitable. It's criminal that we are still playing Cresswell as our first choice left back. Absolutely criminal. That should have been sorted, not just this summer. This summer gone was a summer too late for that. That should have been done the previous summer. The previous summer, left back should have been sorted. This was clearly coming. So I can't believe we're still playing Cresswell. He's hit the wall. It's over for Cresswell. We should have a left back in there. So in this window, if we're going to pay 25 million, it has to be. If we're going to get one player, it has got to be a young, talented left back who will be our left back / wing back. He has to be able to do both. Left back / wing back for the next few years. This has got to be somebody early mid-20s who's like in their prime or just approaching their prime, is really talented early 20s. You know what I mean? Got a really, really top player. But we don't scout players like that. You know, all this talk, this Red Bull model talk was absolute horseshit. Now, hopefully under Rob Newman, we might be able to start changing that. Fingers crossed. But I would hope Rob Newman could go out and find a really, really talented, promising young left back. Now, look, if we can't find one this January, I still think we also need to sort out the right back position. I think Safal, again, tries his best, has some decent games, but ultimately going forward, he's not going to be the right man for the job. Johnson, I think going forward, full term, isn't going to even stay here. I think he's pissed off now. He wants out.
Yeah, Johnson.
Ashby's leaving. I feel sorry for Johnson. Ashby is leaving.
Yeah.
So if we couldn't get a left back, I'd go get a right back of the same mould, because both of those positions need sorting like right now. If we can do it in January, brilliant. If not, the summer.
Do you have Wan-Bissaka?
I'd have him all day long.
Yeah,
all day long.
Totally.
Him or is it Juranovic? Is it that lad at Celtic? That right back at Celtic? Is he? Yeah. He looks a player. He looks a player. I think he could come in and do a great job in the Premier League. So ideally, like you, left back, if not, sort out right back. We've got to get both of those positions sorted. We should be sorting one of them now, especially left back in January, and then sort the other one in the summer.
Well, there is a player who is coming back, Tommy. That's Arthur Mazawaku. we can't even give him away, this geezer. You know what I mean? He's on his way back from Turkey as we speak. Imagine if he sets up that left wing back for us. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
You know what?
I agree, though.
You know what? Leeds do not have a left back. They don't have one. They're desperate. They're worse than us. At left back. They literally do not have a left back on their books at the moment. Like, I'd be calling Jesse Marsh, and saying, listen, you need a left back. You don't have any. You like ball players. You like to play the ball on the ground, knock it about. Masuaku, he's the man for you. You obviously don't care if players can defend. So
I'll pay his Uber. I'll pay it. I'll just get him up there. Get him up to Yorkshire.
We'll keep paying his wages. Yeah, we'll keep paying his wages till the end of the season. Just, there you go.
Yeah, so something's got to give, though, especially in this window. Like, obviously, the last January window, we waited around for ages and we got no one. The window before that, we got Jesse Lingard. Yeah, so we need to sort of we need some players, all right, which is mad. When you look at it, we've spent all that money and we still need players. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, look, if we could get Ings on loan, if that happens, all right, happy with that. It's another striker in till the end of the season, one who can finish, good player in. And then you've still got. Now, look, it would be helpful if Torino decide to buy Vlasic now instead of waiting until the summer. I don't know if they'll do that, but that would be nice if they take him now, get some money in. But we've got to make signings. I mean, it's as simple as that. Defensively, we're shocking, particularly down the wings. I mean, every week it seems now, James, we're getting hammered down the sides.
100%.
We can't keep doing that for the rest of the season. You can't put this off till the summer. We've got to shore up the back line. We've got Aguerd back. We're going to have Zuma back shortly. If we can get a couple of really good right fullbacks in now in January, fuck the summer budget.
Tommy,
chuck the money at it now.
Yeah, like we've got good players at the club, like Ashby. Yeah, like I discussed it before. I've seen Ashby live. I think he's an excellent player. And West Ham are just mucking about with the youth. Like Ben Johnson, for me, irritates me a little bit. I like Ben. I think he's a good kid. But one thing he does do is he's staying around here. I think he's looking for a move out the door, if I'm being honest.
I don't blame him.
Do you know what I mean? He's had enough. And if he
I
wants to go,
him.
yeah, I'd rather him just say, I want to leave, rather than just being forced to stay, if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the money he's on, all right, fair enough, he should be on a bit more money, but this is a man who's third choice at the minute, though, Tommy, at right back. Let's be honest. Like, if Cafal starts and plays half decent, Cafal starts, then if he's not starting, then it's going to be Care at right back. And then Ben's probably like third choice at the minute. Right? So,
yeah, well,
he needs to sort himself out.
Ben Johnson has not developed the way he should have. Ben Johnson should be with the talent he's got. I think he should be a better player than he is, and I think a lot of the reason why he's not the player he should be, again, is because he's been shoved from pillar to post in this West Ham team. He's been asked to play as an orthodox right back, which is his natural position. He's been asked to play as a right-sided wing back, a right-sided centre back, a left-sided wing back. I mean, come on. This is a kid who's trying to develop, into as good a player as his talent will allow. Yeah. And it's been stunted because the poor kid's come in and he's had to learn about 5 different positions. Kid's got no chance. You can't. It's like the old, jack of all trades, master of none, right?
100%.
So Moyes has turned this kid who's got some real talent into a utility player who's not great in any one position. Whereas if Ben Johnson had come in, if Moyes had developed him as a right back, and had a progression for him and set him down and said, look, we're going to start bringing you into the team now as a right back because that's your position. Obviously, right now you're going to be behind Sofal or whoever it was at the time, Fredericks. But we're going to bring you through and develop you, and over time, you get more and more games, and we keep developing you. And in the next couple of years, you'll be the nailed-on first choice right back if you develop the way we believe you'll develop, and we'll keep working with you. Keep your head down, work hard, learn from us, learn from the players around you, and you'll get there if you work hard and the talent is there. We should have had that kind of progression for Ben Johnson because I think the ability was there, but him trying to learn how to play 5 positions as a kid is scandalous. I think he's got what chance did he have, James?
I know, mate. I know. Listen, I hear what you're saying. The one thing with him, though, he reminds me of like Ainsley Maitland-Niles at Arsenal. Like, he goes from one position to another position, and you just don't know what position he is. And then where's Ainsley Maitland-Niles now? I think he's at West Brom, I think. Listen, I just think Ben's, like, he's come out on podcasts, he said things about fan channels and things like that. And then recently, before Christmas, he's having a party in Dagenham. And I know that through people I know. So, yeah. Listen, I like Ben. I think he's a good player, but he should have come on a bit more than he has. That's one thing I will say. Like, but he reminds me of Miles.
Yeah, I think he's dejected.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Right.
I think he's dejected. He kind of knows at this point, like he's got no chance under Moyes, really, to develop the way he should be. And I think the sooner he finds himself another club, a club that he can actually play week in, week out as a right back, and allow himself to develop and get the experience of game after game after game at right back, and just to continually improve himself. And I think then he can still be a really good pro.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. To round this up, Tommy, right? Obviously, we've got the sad passing of David Gold on Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoon, I think it was, or Wednesday morning. Just give us your thoughts on it, really, if you can.
I'm sorry, I lost the sound there for a second. Thoughts on what?
David Gold, mate. The passing of David Gold.
Yeah, obviously, look, condolences to his family. Obviously, very sad news, particularly for them. Outside of obviously his chairman's role at West Ham, he was a father and a husband and a grandfather, and I don't know if he has brothers and sisters whatever. But you know, he has great grandparents. You know, so obviously condolences to all of them. Obviously, a very sad time for them. You know, and look, we have to respect the fact he was a chairman at West Ham. You know, he was a West Ham fan, a genuine one, not like Sullivan. Sullivan's a Cardiff City fan. No one's going to tell me otherwise. And you know, he was a genuine West Ham fan. I think he was actually, as a person, I think he was a genuinely nice guy. I think he was a good man, a decent man. And so, yeah, you know, rest in peace to him. Obviously, look, we can talk another time about his legacy purely as West Ham chairman, not as a person, you know, not as a family man, just as, you know, co-chairman of the club. We can talk about legacy and all that, and obviously there'll be pros and cons to that, as it probably is with every chairman of every club. But look, sad to see the man pass away. I never had any gripe with him as a person. Obviously had some issues with the way the club was being run. We all have. But that's a separate kind of thing, really, to me. To the person, the human being, family man, you know. So yeah, sad to see him pass away. Obviously, former chairman. So you know, hammers up for David Gold, and you know, rest in peace. You know?
Yeah, very well said, mate. Very well spoken. Very well said. For me, I said it the other day. I'll say it again quickly. I've got my issues with GSB. I will say GSB because it was all of them at the time. But the man, one thing I will say is the man was a West Ham fan. Like, he loved West Ham to bits, like all of us do. You know what I'm saying? It is a sad loss to the West Ham family, so to speak, because he's one of us and he bleeds the claret and blue. But it will be a strange thing there to see that Sullivan's got full control of this situation, and there is no real West Ham fan there now. Like Tommy said, no one will ever tell me any different about David Sullivan. He's a Cardiff fan. It's obvious. So yeah, like, it is a sad loss. Condolences to his family, his grandkids, his fiance, and everyone else who's involved with David Gold, mate, because it is a sad thing. I will say that. Anyway, I will leave it on that somber note. Tommy, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I really do appreciate it, as always.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on, James.
No worries at all. Anytime, mate. Anytime. Please do subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way. Please do like this video. Get us out there. Listen, I really, really do enjoy Tommy coming on talking preview about games and things. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't know who he is, go and follow him on Twitter. He's got a new profile picture of like Declan Rice. So yeah, if you don't know who he is, you search for him on Twitter, you'll find Declan Rice with a funny face. But yeah, listen, I really do appreciate it. I just want to get to this comment here. Steve Bell has donated £4.49. Steve Bell, thank you very much, mate. Top man, total gentleman. What a state of affairs we find ourselves in, for fuck's sake. It's Friday, Steve. Like, I would go and have a pint, but I can't. I'm on a ban for a month. I can't have no alcohol, no chocolate, no takeaway. So I'm like fasting at the minute. But yeah, you all go and have a beer and enjoy yourselves. But I'll leave it at that. Anyway, I'm back tomorrow at some point to discuss the Brentford game. Will West Ham get the win in Brentford? I do hope so. If they don't, Dave, you're under it, son. You're under pressure. Take care.
There it is. I've never found a love like this.